the chair of the session and speakers are already here. So if you, all the delegates, if you can occupy the seats also, we can move on to the session quickly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Could I have your attention, please? We are already running out of time. I would like to welcome you all for today's session on PPP, Public-Private Partnership, as part of the National Urban Conclave on Reinventing Urban Development through Emerging Tools and Techniques. I am delighted to chair the session on PPP. This is definitely a very interesting and a very relevant topic, and we have very talented, experienced speakers who will share their views, learnings and expertise on the subject. It's an absolute privilege to be among them. So to set the context, I would like to give a brief introduction or overview of the title in hand. And today's discussion will cover a range of matters associated with PPPs and examples of PPP experience with various infrastructure sectors. As we all are aware, the PPP model has been there for a while and is pretty successful in many areas. So what exactly is PPP? It is the collaboration of a government-owned entity as a private sector and a private sector entity to develop public assets or services by investments. Expertise and management will be led by the private company for a specific time frame. And UK first adopted this model in 1990s, which then turned out to be a huge success. In India, it began in 2004, Gujarat being the first to implement it for developing infrastructure projects. So currently there are more than 1,000 PPP projects of different scale in various stages of development in India, which includes railways, water, roadways, energy sector and many more. So significant bodies have been set by the government for this, which includes IIFCL, that is India Infrastructure Finance Company Limited. The CEO of the company will be joining us today. So there is an emergency situation, that is why we are rushing through it. So sir will be joining us online, and actually he is waiting. So the prospects of PPP includes a well-structured public resource management, excellent quality expertise, timely completion of the project with no additional cost. The private sector brings latest modern technology, risk management expenditure are cut down significantly, and ample job opportunities are created. And some of the issues related to PPPs are poorly drafted contracts and breaches in contract, renegotiation of PPP projects, zero performance measures, corruption, heavy political interference. And I'm sure the esteemed speakers of this session will be sharing their success stories, the instruments, the techniques, the innovations they used for bringing it, and also how they dealt with the issues which I mentioned. So with this in mind, I would like to call upon our first speaker in the sense that is Sri Palash Srivastava, Deputy CEO of IIFCL project, Government of India. So he'll be joining us online.
Thank you for having me. My apologies at not being there personally in person, but there was a conflicting meeting at 5 o'clock where I had to be here for a very important deliberation, and therefore I have got stranded here. But I am Actually, I have got baptized with PPPs here from Kochi itself. I would say that before, of course, the first project that I handled was the East Coast Road in Chennai, and then the Nedumshari International Airport, and the connectivity that was associated with that. So I feel very connected with Kochi and the entire agenda of PPPs and urban infrastructure PPPs. Also, that the IIFCL projects is also worked with KIFBI, and Senthil sir has been very supporting. We have for the government of Kerala been able to structure the first AIF in the country as for the KIFBI. So these are actually some of the things which I feel that we have been able to contribute to Kochi and Kerala. However, if you look at the overall landscape of PPPs, we have seen mixed successes. Though India is amongst the three major PPP forces in the world, and in fact, it was introduced that basically UK was at the forefront and did a lot of PPPs to begin with. So India, of course, is now quoted for its road development. It has also quoted internationally on PPPs for the telecom sector and the energy sector transformations that have happened. And I personally have been involved with a lot of urban infrastructure projects where PPPs have been used as an instrumentality. So I just want to basically start with saying that PPP is an instrument, a tool. So just like a screwdriver is a tool, and if it is used for a particular purpose, obviously for driving the screw it is a very good instrument. But if you were to actually drive a nail, which is a blunt-headed nail, it will be of no purpose. So therefore you have to know as to how to use this instrument and where to use this instrument. So how I will come to in the second part, but where it has been used and where it can be used is something which I would like to really focus in the first part of my deliberation with you. The solid waste management actually has been something which has been attempted very early in the urban sector. There have been a lot of, in fact, examples all across the country where solid waste management through all collection, transportation and disposal, and even waste to energy, bracketing and all these kind of, various dimensions have met with mixed success. Right now, what we are seeing is that we have taken next level of refinement. We have funded, IFCL has funded the waste to energy projects, also a number of them in Andhra Pradesh as well as other places, including Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. But the thing that we are now moving to is how to use the solid waste, waste to energy program to also blend with the city gas distribution. So there is a program which is a Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation program assisted, where we are the technical agency which we are supporting. So we are actually looking at Indian Oil to support, to buy out the gas which is being generated out of the municipal solid waste, which is basically coming to their landfill, and the gasification is happening, and the basically blended gas is likely to be distributed. Right now, and Indian Oil has the concession for the city of Coimbatore. So this is in Coimbatore. So I'm just taking you through. See, like what happened was, as the issue which was being raised, in fact, at the outset by the anchor, that there are certain issues, how projects actually are not prepared well, how despite the projects being prepared well, there is some political interference. There is a requirement for, the dynamic context is dynamic. It is not that, a project is happening in just 2 years and getting constructed and getting finished. It is a long period, say 15 years, 20 years, and things change. There is a dynamism to the PPP process, and that one has to really look at how things change. So even in this, solid waste management program, we've seen how we have evolved from basically the waste to energy experiment in Lucknow, which was way back in 2005-06, and it failed miserably because while the World Bank had done the waste characterization, it had done the structuring and everything, but eventually when it came to operating the solid waste waste to energy plant, it actually went into say operational issues, and the municipal corporation was all the organic waste was actually diverted by people who learnt in the process, and the inorganic waste was actually given to the developer, and the entire energy was lost. But now we have moved further from there, and we are now really looking at how to use gasification and use it for city gas distribution. So I would say that this is a journey, and that this has been possible because of a fine-tuning of our PPP structures and arrangements therein. The other sector which I would like to really talk about is the urban transport. Urban transport has seen a lot of development, especially I would say Gujarat has definitely shown that even BRT and bus transport has actually worked very well and we have got some paratransit facilities which are basically being provided using electric. So electric buses and electric rickshaws and autos are being provided, and for congested areas like the Matanchari area, we can really look at rather than having a huge metro going down there, you can still have a e-rickshaw train which actually has been experimented in Udaipur. So what I'm saying is that, while we started with say some kind of experiments on BRT and other things, and we have experimented of course with the metros, but smaller solutions have also worked, like in Udaipur all the hotels are say located in the congested part of the city where the lakes are. Udaipur is also the city of lakes, so basically they have a transport arrangement where the electric rickshaws are dropping all the tourists at all the taxis drop the tourist at a particular point, and these are checked in. All these people are checked in at that particular point, and they are then organized in electric transport into the city in a very, very streamlined fashion. So I think, and we are in discussion with the city of Varanasi Development Authority as well to actually implement a similar kind of an arrangement in Varanasi. So this actually is also a PPP, and it can work very well. So I think before, I think there will be other speakers also. I don't want to dilate too much, but I think there are 3-4 main things that one should really look at in PPP projects. One, in an urban situation, one is that the urban infrastructure can be front-ended by using PPPs, because there is a lot of, at least in an Indian situation, we are looking at a number of people joining the urban centers over time. So if you see, and they will pay for it. So we see that how the telecom sector, we were able to, have the best of technology and very low cost telecom services being provided. So with that kind of a framework, I think we can front end a lot of urban infrastructure, and I was part of the urban financing working group for the 12th plan, and I think it has worked in some measure, it is working in some measures. So I'm quite sure about that, that it will work. The second point, I think, is aggregation. Aggregation is very much important, because we have seen the success of the Ola, Uber and My Kochi app. I think there is a basically white labeled app which actually enables, and that's, I think, a very good innovation that has been done by Kochi. So I think these are the things which actually are going to be useful. Now, why don't we extend the aggregation to the reuse of grey water? So all our municipal corporations are mandated to look at, say, 100% reuse of grey water. Now, how do we aggregate? So the aggregation is at the industrial level. So if we see that, the industrial estates are aggregated, they actually will save, rather than, pumping out precious groundwater. If we are able to aggregate their demand and basically supply this grey water from the municipal corporation to these industrial estates, we may actually, so there is an aggregation framework that we are working on in Kolhapur. There is a foundry cluster there. So with the Ministry of MSME, hopefully that is going through. So I would say that aggregation is a second important dimension which works very well in urban PPPs. The third dimension which I think, and the last which I want to highlight, is that you cannot have mutual exclusivity. So if you are looking at a PPP arrangement, you will have to look at it in a telecom circle, like we did the bidding out of telecom circles. You can give a first mover advantage for maybe 1 year or 1.5 years, because the person is actually, taking the first mover risk, is actually spending a lot of capital. But you will have to get the second and the third player. And the first player should know that the second player is going to come after 2 or 3 years, and that is basically how this PPP should work in an urban situation. So I think these are points which I would like to really leave you with, and thank you so much for having me, and I apologize once again for not being available in person, but it's a pleasure to see you all, and to see you in the context of Fort Kochi, and I'm thankful for GCDA for extending the invitation and facilitating my joining online. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the Okay, I think sir has already left the meeting. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the efforts taken in joining online and giving us a very elaborate lecture. So next we will proceed with the next sessions and speakers on the PPP projects session. Next we have Srimati Geeta Ajit Pillai, Chief General Manager Transport at Airport, SIDCO, Maharashtra, with us. for the next session. She is one person which the planning fraternity of Kerala is actually proud of, because she is now the Chief General Manager of SIDCO Maharashtra and is an alumnus of NIT Calicut and SPA Delhi, and has an experience of more than 25 years in planning, especially in planning and development of transportation infrastructure and urban transportation projects. And she has been actively involved in planning and developing the Navi Mumbai International Airport also, and also in major connectivity related infrastructure projects. She represents SIDCO as the director in SPVs such as Navi Mumbai International Airport, Mumbai JNP Port Road Company, Pune International Airport, Pune Purandar International Airport, etc. So with these words, I extend my warm welcome to Srimati Geeta Ajit Pillai and request her to enlighten us with her thoughts. Thank you.
So let me, by the time the presentation is starting, I would like to thank GCDA and all the organizers of this program for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with all of you. I'm especially proud of this moment because I'm from Kerala and I take pride in being here today. Though I'm working in Maharashtra, my heart lies in Kerala. Like as a proud Malayali, I'm very happy to be in Cochin and being a part of this wonderful conference. So I would like to briefly give an overview of how Navi Mumbai, we heard about the overall PPP context in the country. I would like to say in the beginning only that PPP in aviation is a very nascent stage even today. All over the world there are PPPs going on and different models are being tried out. Philippines has tried out, Brazil has tried out, India is trying out. We have different models, regulatory principles were in the very nascent stage. So every PPP, every airport, we are learning new things and we try to adapt the learnings and mistakes what we got through each project and try to improve our concessions and contracts so that government and private exist in a very conducive manner and give the public, ultimately the public is the receptor of all these benefits. So how to give a very good public experience, that is the ultimate idea. So how we face that, that's what my presentation is all about. So I would like to, I'll run through what is Navi Mumbai, and for you people who are not familiar with Navi Mumbai, and what is Navi Mumbai International Airport, and why PPP in aviation, and then what is the role of government, like what should the government do to make a PPP successful, and what were the challenges we faced and how we managed it. Next. So if you see Navi Mumbai, it is right in the center. Navi Mumbai has got a very unique positioning. That is, it is in the center of the Mumbai metropolitan region. The Mumbai metropolitan region itself is a very huge area of 6,300 square kilometers. Navi Mumbai is right at the center, and it is separated by the creek. It is separated by the Thane Creek. From the island city, the South Mumbai is an island city, and then the Vasai Virar, Thane, Kalyan, Karjat, Khopoli, it's a huge area. So the population right now it's around 22 million for the region, and the projected population for 2030 is 30 million. So you can imagine the kind of scale what we are looking at, and the population, it's a very densely populated area. And it comes with all the challenges of geographical constraints, like you have water, you have hills, you have mangroves, you name it, we have it in Mumbai. So how Navi Mumbai came into existence? In 1970s or late 60s, there was a thought that since Mumbai is a very constricted and linear city, you should expand it towards the mainland of Maharashtra. So that is how the thought of Navi Mumbai came up, and the Maharashtra government formed the City and Industrial Development Corporation of Maharashtra. We are a fully owned company of the government of Maharashtra, and we were given this 344 square kilometers of land, and that too barren land. You develop it, you create your master plan, structure plan, whatever, you sell land, you make money, you develop. There's no subsidy or any help from the government other than this grant of rights to CIDCO as a development authority. When I say we have rights, our board is very powerful. We have to go to the government only for a very few we of course we are under the urban development ministry, but we have lot of powers. If we have to implement certain things, we only have to seek our board approval. Unless they are very specific issues, we go to the government. So the Navi Mumbai development was it was a very visionary approach. Initially the railway, for any new city to develop, mass transit is a big it has to be a guided development. So CIDCO decided that we have to bring suburban railway to the Navi Mumbai side, which was not part of the Mumbai suburban system. So the Central Railways initially was very reluctant, but they were refusing to come to Navi Mumbai. So CIDCO took the initiative of forming in the country itself. It was the first thing. We went into a tripartite agreement with the Central Railway, wherein CIDCO, Government of Maharashtra and the Railway Ministry formed an agreement where CIDCO would spend the capital cost for the project. 67% was funded by CIDCO, and remaining the infrastructure, that is the railway and the coaches and all the technical side was brought in by the railways. In lieu of that, CIDCO said we would take a surcharge on every ticket. So even today we are collecting the surcharge, which we again put it back into the development of further suburban railway system. And then we also got the development of air space over the railway stations. So we could develop, that was a very initial TOD concept, if you can say, but it was not residential. There was some restriction for the railways. They were not ready to give us residential permission. So we had commercial complexes, office complexes over all the railway stations in Navi Mumbai. So that was our way of taking back the money what we were putting into the railway system. But that proved to be a very big success, because the moment railways started, the Navi Mumbai development actually started. It was like an exponential growth, and today we are at around 2 million, touching 2 million population, and we are expecting that very soon it will go up to 4 million in the coming years. So we did not go for a very rigid master plan. It was more of a loose structure plan, which is with 14 nodes, self-contained nodes, which are strung along the suburban corridor, and each node is self-contained. It has everything like public spaces, residential, commercial, education spaces, educational, especially schools, then even higher education, all community centers. So each node functions like a small city by itself, but however they are all interconnected, and of course interconnected to the main city of Mumbai. So now we completed 50 years of our city. For a city, I think it's a very young city, but now we are in the crux of development with all the major infrastructure projects coming up. So we consider that these two are going to be the most important economic triggers in the upcoming growth of Navi Mumbai. That is, one is the Navi Mumbai International Airport. That is planned as the second international airport for Mumbai as such. It is going to be a gateway international airport with a planned capacity of 60 million, expandable to 100 million, and the 1.5 million tons of cargo per annum. So if you see, the aerial distance between the two airports is not much. It's within 150 kilometers. So that itself faced a challenge, posed a challenge. We had to take special permissions from the cabinet, the central government, to even come up with this airport at this location. And then the Jawaharlal Nehru port, which is the largest container port in Asia, in the Asia and the 28th among the 100 container terminals in the world. Now they are expanding very rapidly, and they are expecting that very soon 10 million TEUs they will touch. So these two are major economic triggers, and we are expecting that the city growth will be guided by these two infrastructure projects. So Navi Mumbai Airport, I'll give you a simple brief. So it has two Code F parallel runways which can accommodate the largest aircrafts like A380 and all that. And we have, the plan is in like 3 terminals of 20 million passengers per annum. So totaling 60, and one provision for another 30 million terminal which is for the later stage. And this is going to be a major economic trigger for the Mumbai metropolitan region and also the entire area, Pune-Mumbai region, because it is expected to create a lot of jobs in the both primary jobs and as well as secondary jobs. In the general, as a thumb rule, you can say that for every 1 million passenger in an airport, it creates around 6 times the jobs in the surrounding region. So then it is a PPP project on DBFOT basis: design, build, finance, operate and transfer. So initially what we have kept is for 40 years, that is 30 years plus 10 years of extension, because this was itself evolved from certain experiences in Delhi where CAG had objected in giving a direct 60-year concession. So, so this is kept like that with another rebidding for another 20 years. So overall it's 60 years, and now that promoter is Adani Airports. Earlier it was GVK. So there were some difficulties with GVK. So Adani purchased their entire shares from GVK, and now they are our private partner. Now the total, now they are initially going to develop phase 1 and 2 for 20 million passengers per annum. So the capex is around 19,600 crores. And the financial close, the very best thing what happened after Adani came in is that they were able to achieve financial close where SBI underwrote the entire debt. That is 12,700 crores now they have underwritten. And the remaining equity is taken by CIDCO and Adani together. So if you see why we need PPP in airport development, here again I am very proud as a Malayali that Cochin Airport is the harbinger of PPP projects in airport in the country. So if you really see, even today in the ministry and wherever we go, Cochin Airport is always considered as a best example of private participation in airports. So, and they are doing today also, they are doing pretty well. That actually triggered maybe the thought of privatization when government decided to go ahead and privatize the biggest airports, that is Delhi and Mumbai, which was again a success. And then came the greenfield PPP projects of Bangalore, Hyderabad, and now Navi Mumbai. Now we have many, Mopa in Goa, then Jewar Airport in Greater Noida. So now we are slowly becoming experts in airport PPPs. So here, if you can see, the COVID was a big letdown in aviation market where the entire airport operations came to a standstill, and even GVK, one of the downfalls of GVK came from this COVID, because they could not, all their projections went haywire and they could not sustain. So, but if you see today, again it has recovered, and if you, the 21-22 financial year, we have recovered to about 55% of the traffic pre-COVID levels. And it is now going, I heard Cochin has recovered to 100% of the pre-COVID levels of traffic. So now India has a very, very predominant role in aviation. We rank by the sheer size of travelers. We are third behind China and US. And as per Boeing India's air traffic projection, we are going to see a 7% annual growth by up to 2040 till we become a mature market. And even CAPA estimates that by 2040 around 1 billion passengers are going to be in the Indian aviation market. So why, so here to keep up with this kind of rapid growth in aviation air traffic, we need airports also to match that kind of passenger traffic. So, but airspace modernization also very important, but that our Airport Authority of India and Ministry of Civil Aviation, they are doing all possible efforts to make modern airspaces and safe airspaces. However, the airport was always a kind of a monopoly of Airport Authority of India, and there were issues with that. The quality or passenger experience was never that great in our airports. So once the airports need to have a very high operational efficiency and requires significant capital investment, which always government has a difficulty in raising that kind of investment, and timing and funding. So maybe massive scale of investment is required, and that too as of yesterday. So where do we bring that kind of funds? So that is why privatization is very, very important in this particular sector. So here, as I already said, India has always gone for a classic PPP model where government always retains the ownership and we only award a lease or a concession to the private party, and controls, it's very strictly controlled through contract and regulation. So as you know, there is a body at central level called Airport Economic Regulatory Authority. So the entire regulatory aspect is taken care of by them, that you are not overcharging the passengers. The tariffs are fixed based on their calculations. ERA takes a yearly 5-year control period. They review and give a very nominal tariff to the passengers. So, but control is through the contract. That is the concession agreement what ma'am was talking about. That has to be very kind of plugged without any loopholes. So every airport concession, when we developed also, we had to look through previous concession agreements and try to identify whether there were any loopholes in this system. So as I said, brownfield airport PPPs were Delhi and Mumbai, then Bangalore, Hyderabad, greenfield, and now under implementation, Navi Mumbai, Jewar and all that. So private PPP has a lot of benefits. That is, economic benefit is of course supports economic growth and all that. But government finance, it complements government finance in the fast development of highly efficient structures. And then airport financial strength, of course, as I said, they can recapitalize the project as per their cash situation, and they can change the debt equity ratio, and they can do such things easily, much easier than government. And then airport development, of course, they bring their expertise and they ensure that the airport is ready in the earliest possible time. And then the operational efficiency, we all, I think, agree that private sector efficiency is much more than the government efficiency in operation. And the benefits which accrue to the public at the least possible time. So that is why this PPP has become a very important thing in the airport sector. So generally we can see that these are the main challenges in PPP, that is land acquisition, rehabilitation and environmental issues. Because okay, technical things anyone can do. If you bring a good contractor like L&T, they will make a new airport and keep. But before the bidder comes in, what the government has to do, that is land acquisition, R&R and environmental clearance, which are the most challenging in especially our democratic kind of setup, where everybody has a say in everything. So whereas in China and all that, they decide and they execute, whereas in India we can't do that. Then location and connectivity. If you go and make an airport in some remote corner of the city where no one is able to access, either you provide good connectivity or you locate it in such a way that it has got good connectivity. Then the capacity of the private developer. How strong the private developer is, that makes a big difference, because how they can bring in the finances, how they can bring in good technical expertise. Then financing, that is again from the private developer. Then the regulation is from the government, the central government. Aviation is a central government subject So everything is controlled at the central government level. And then there is a very important one, that is unforeseen risk and political instability. Though this unforeseen risk, you can simply take the example of COVID, which no one expected or no one ever thought of. And political instability, in India it's not that evident, but in some countries, just because political instability, the project itself has gone, become unviable, or the private bidder has suffered a lot of loss. So when a bidder tries to bid for a project, they see all this. Whether my political support is there, it is going to continue. Whether there will not be any stop in the project in between. They will assess all this, and then only they will. So now this is how what is the role of government. So if you see, this is our structure of our airport, that is Adani Airport Holdings and Airport Authority together. They have the company called Mumbai International Airport Private Limited, which operates the Mumbai Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport. They have bid for Navi Mumbai, and there are then Mayal and CITCO together, we have formed a special purpose company called Navi Mumbai International Airport Private Limited, where they hold 74% and CITCO holds 26%. So we have a very strong shareholding in that, and we have even contributed by way of cash for the project as equity. So in positive steps, we have taken several positive steps before the project was actually went into bidding stage. That is land acquisition. We had to acquire around 292 hectares of private land. Then that we went through, that I'll explain in the next slides. And then we had major, in Navi Mumbai, what CITCO had done earlier, we have never displaced even one village. There were 95 small settlements when Navi Mumbai became a notified area. But we developed the city around these small settlements, and they were integrated very seamlessly into the new city. They were given land for land, and over a period of time, they have become an integral part of the city. So it was always a very sustainable development. But in case of airport, we had no option but to resettle these people. So there were around 9 villages, of which there were around 3,000 families who were living in, they were very traditional Kohli fisher men kind of families, and they were very, very reluctant to move out because that is their traditional houses. So that required a lot of convincing, lot of very social and very very humanitarian kind of approach we had to take. And then we had the long drawn process of environmental clearance, which we had to take help from even Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of our state government, our chief minister, everybody was involved in this. Then what CITCO did is, to make the bidders work easy, we did some initial development of the land, all the preparation, the preparatory works, which CITCO spent money from its own kitty, and we did those works. And then height regulations, like for any airport, and that too in an intensely developing area like Mumbai, the moment you hear that airport is coming, there is massive selling. The builders announce multi-storied buildings and they start advertising next to Navi Mumbai airport, please come. So there was a lot of public interest in this. So CITCO, what we did, before the airport authority notified the airport, we started controlling the height regulations so that tomorrow it doesn't become a hindrance for the airport heights. So this is how we did the land acquisition model. It's a very interesting model. We got the policy approved through this was all done through constant and dialogue with the PAPs. PAPs we call them, project affected people. So we had to talk to them. We used to go to the villages and give presentations on how these projects are going to help you, how your people will get jobs, how your economics will improve. So slowly and gradually they went, it's a consent model, they had to give a consent, and we gave 22.5% of developed land in lieu of the acquired land. And we developed, their only demand was that we should get the compensatory land near the airport. We will not take anything other than that. So next to the airport, we gave very prime land. We have developed a township. This is completely developed by CIDCO, and we prepared the layout and did transparent lotteries. Like everything was digitally available. They didn't have any doubt that there is any hodgepodge going on. So it was done in front of everyone. We used to call people like this and put up a screen and do the lottery for allotment. So that is how we finished this, the land acquisition. Then these were the small 9 settlements within the airport area. So around 2,700 structures were there. So this was the biggest R&R exercise maybe in the country today. It was such a major exercise. This was even more difficult than land acquisition because this was a matter of their houses. Though they were very small houses, but they were very reluctant to leave their area and go. So again they had conditioned that we will go only next to our villages. We will not go anywhere far. So we had to identify pockets very near to the airport, and we developed complete physical infrastructure, social infrastructure, community structures. Everything is done by CIDCO. Even the schools, public health facilities, community centers, crematoria, everything we did, and then we allotted, developed plots to we gave 3 times the area of their structures as plots for them, and they had free, all our building permissions. We had single window clearance for that, and for their building permissions, we didn't put it on online building clearance. We made it manual for their ease of, getting permissions faster. So then if you can see that, suddenly within 2 years, during lockdown also they have constructed, and now mostly the R&R pockets people have constructed through builders basically. They have tied up with builders, and they have all become crorepathies, I would say, today. So the temples, school, everything, those were either given funding by CIDCO or they themselves. For each temple, we had to give a separate funding to shift the deity, to construct the building. So these are all these structures, and this is, you can see national highway passing through this. This is the road to JNPT basically. And now these are the works which were done by CIDCO, that is land development. So if you see this is the old situation of the site, where there was a small kind of a rivulet flowing through the airport site. Then the red lines are the extra high tension EHVT lines, that is 220 kV lines, which are live lines which are supplying power to main Mumbai area, Tata and MSCTCL power lines, and then the hill cutting and filling to around 5.5 meter height. So this, we incurred a cost of around 4,000 crores, which we structured into the project as a soft loan, which the concessionaire will return it to us after a certain period of time. So this was a big boon for them. When the bidding happened, the site was almost ready. So this is one lesson, I think, which all of us, all government authorities can learn, how, to preempt all the difficulties and try to resolve them before the concessionaire is in place. So if you can see, the hill has come down, everything is flattened. Right now this is the stage when the actual runway construction, everything is happening on the site. So there are 2 parallel runways. In the first phase, only 1 runway is being constructed. So this was how the river was kind of constructed. It's a 200-meter wide recourse channel, which actually kind of reduced the flooding in the entire area, because it is a very hydraulically well-designed channel which takes care of the stormwater, and it takes it to the main creek. So this the EHVT lines were rerouted along the duct of through ducts along the boundary of the airport. That again, it was a very costly thing. So, but Tata and MSCTCL, they collaborated with us, and CIDCO constructed this entire thing for them. And we funded it and they constructed it. So now, if you see, government has committed seamless connectivity to the airport. Basically, as everybody has been saying, now private vehicles are a menace. But in our Indian context, today also we would love to go in our own car and get down at the airport. That is the psyche of our Indians. But we are trying to create as much public transportation as possible. But still there is going to be a road. Even in our traffic projections we see that ultimately the traffic is all mostly going to come through the these road links. Maybe by the time the metro comes, that will be only in the phase 3 of the airport, where the metro is going to come and enter the actual terminal. So here if you can see this one, this is the Mumbai Trans-Harbour link, which is the biggest sea link which is being created to connect the mainland Mumbai and the island city. It is 22 kilometers long and it's almost completed. It is funded completely by JICA. And once it is done, the mainland to Navi Mumbai distance time will be just 25 minutes. You can just travel right across. And then on to Pune and all. Now new highway, the national highway is creating so many major links which will ultimately connect to Pune and the other parts of Maharashtra. So this Mumbai Trans-Harbour link and Navi Mumbai, this airport together is going to transform this entire what you call the phase of Navi Mumbai. So if you see the passenger water transport is also, we are experimenting based on the Cochin model, but it's not that easy because we have very bad tidal variations in Navi Mumbai. And Mumbai seas are very tidally affected, so monsoon the operators are not very comfortable in operating. So if you see, these are the metro linkages for future. So once it will all connect the main airport and the Navi Mumbai airport, and then the Kalyan, the eastern MMR, western MMR, everything will ultimately get connected through metro. But this is a long-term project, it might take time. So how the government supported through this is there were several agreements done with the concessionaire. The one is the state government support agreement, that is the SGSA, where the government gave certain incentives. They gave exemption from payment of stamp duty for the signing of concession agreement, and then gave a kind of a commitment that we will give the best surface access to the airport. Then utilities, cleanliness, these are all normal things. And then the central government, they signed a memorandum of understanding. It's an umbrella agreement which guarantees all the research services. That is animal quarantine, plant quarantine, whatever, customs, immigration, everything. It is covered under this umbrella agreement. So here one very important thing was the regulatory clarity which was given by the Airport Economic Regulatory Authority. So what AERA did till then, even people like IATA and all that, they were they were pro towards a single till. I don't know, I mean whether you are aware. So single till is where all the revenues from the airport is put into a single basket, and then the non-aeronautical revenue is used to subsidize the passenger tariffs. So it's a cross subsidization, but that doesn't attract the private developers because they want that, they are not keen on putting all their 100% revenue into cross subsidization. So they wanted a shared till. So ultimately we followed up with AERA and they agreed for a 30% hybrid till, what they call. Only 30% of the non-aeronautical revenue will go into the cross subsidization, other it can be retained by the private bidder, which is a big attraction for the private developers. So now they have even made it a national policy. Now hereafter any airport, they will consider only 30% of the revenue. Then they said that since we are competing in India, this is going to be the first dual airport system. Both airports are going to compete. So they felt that, like, Navi Mumbai airport being a new airport, to attract people you need to have similar tariffs, otherwise passengers may not come. So they agreed to that also. Initial 5 years they will keep the tariff low and then they will adjust it in the later years. So these two actually was a big win before the bidding happened. We could get this done. Then CIDCO supported it through soft loan, I already explained. Then CIDCO equity, we have a 430 crore we have given equity against as CIDCO's contribution. Then staggered payment, that is concession fee, they don't need to pay an upfront 5,000 crore, they can pay it over a period of time. So that was a big attraction. Then change in ownership. When the GVK, like here, anything, any changes, it has to come through us. That is how the concession agreement is formulated. So when the change in ownership was happening, CIDCO and the cabinet, state cabinet had to give an approval for the change in ownership. So that's a very good control. They cannot do anything in the reserved matters without the government approval. Then the resetting of operations date. Because of COVID, they had submitted that they should be allowed to reset the operations date. So that also now government has agreed. So then we have some safeguards which we have adopted through the concession agreement. They cannot form JVs because there were CAG audits in Delhi airport that they were forming JVs and siphoning off the revenues. So that we considered, and we said that they cannot have JVs. And then the airport side, we have not given on a lease. It's a long-term license. So they cannot they cannot keep it as a security. They cannot securitize it as actually. The site cannot be securitized. It will always remain with the government. And the performance parameters, if they have to continue after 30 years, they have to satisfy the performance parameters which are mentioned in the concession agreement. So then there is a rebidding, and then land under, there is a ring fencing of the SPV. So anything, the SPV is ring fenced in the sense that any ups and downs in the parent company will not affect the SPV's finance. Whether GVK or CIDCO, tomorrow CIDCO is not there or something happens, then also the SPV will be controlled through the escrow account, and all the project cash flows are only allowed through the escrow account, where waterfall mechanisms are clearly mentioned, how the payments are to be done. So then comes a very, very important thing about project monitoring. In the central government, the erstwhile planning commission, they had given very clear outline how to monitor the PPPs, and in taking a cue from that, the government has formed different levels of project monitoring units. In CIDCO, we have a PMU where we monitor it every week. We break down each activity. Our managing director takes a review, and we have 3 IAS officers mainly, 1 managing director and 2 joint managing directors who are looking after this project. They take regular reviews, and anything which is alarming or anything which is to be done, they take initiative and they get it resolved. Then we have nominees on the SPV board, and we have affirmative voting rights. So then the Ministry of Civil Aviation has set up a steering committee, which the Secretary of Civil Aviation takes a regular meeting every month. In case there is any issue which is pending, they take it up at the next level. Then the Project Monitoring and Implementation Committee, which is formed jointly under the Chief Secretary of Maharashtra, he also takes regular reviews, and any issues are solved. And then above all, we have the Pragati monitoring system by the Honorable PM. So this is, Pragati is nothing but proactive governance and active timely implementation. So the Prime Minister himself comes, like if there is anything which is pending, for example, a forest clearance is pending at MOEF, we have to only put it in that, he gets it cleared. So our forest clearance ultimately got cleared through the intervention of Prime Minister actually. So, so this is just a summary of all the challenges what we generally face. So here what we can, bidding activities, I think it's a learning lesson. We can always, the use of model bid document which was created by the Planning Commission earlier, which is a very good guideline for any authority which is going for a PPP. Then, and the past experiences we have to see through, and then take measures to kind of prevent such incidents. And that unanticipated challenges, always we have to keep a very flexible attitude for dealing with such unanticipated challenges. So that's it. So thank you.
Thank you, madam. It was indeed an in-depth presentation covering all the aspects of PPP and implementation, right from implementation, conceptualization, everything. So moving on to the last speaker of this technical session, Sri Loveleen Garg, Chief Planner of GIFT City. more than 21 years of exposure with respect to the conceptualization, planning, design, execution and operations of very large scale infrastructure projects. Sri Lavleen Garg is an engineer planner having hands-on experience in sustainable planning, implementation of greenfield airports, special economic zones, smart cities, power plants and such large urban development projects. And he is also an expert in environmental impact assessment, environmental compliance, sustainability, green buildings and implementation of various standards and manuals, etc. He is also a member of the Bureau of Indian Standards Technical Committee, having mandate for writing the standards for sustainable and smart habitats. So we are really fortunate to have him here, and we are looking forward to having some really deep insights in this part from Sri Lavleen. Over to him, sir, please.
Good evening, everyone. So we had a really long day with lot of informations about planning, land pooling scheme, and the financing, urban issues, challenges, and in fact we just saw the PP model also. So whereas like the concept of PP model, public-private partnership is similar, whether it is highway, whether it is power plants, whether it is airports, whether it is cities. So GIFT is probably the first city which has come on the PP model. So thank you, madam. You have covered almost all the aspects which is to be seen through a PP as a concessional agreement. When you design a project and when you give for the public-private partnerships, so it's about mitigation of risk and taking care of the risk which a private party can give to the government. So it's up to you. Not every project has its own variety of attributes where you have to cover it and have to seen in totality by having the futuristic aspects, considering how this any project is going to be, what is life cycle is going to be happen over there, and what type of trouble, what type of problems or what type of risk can arise out of this operation of that project. This to be managed. So I won't take much time. I'll just go through the presentation. It's a very beautiful city, I would say, and then I invite everyone to see first of its kind smart city. Recently, our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister visited GIFT City. So as a planner, everyone has heard about the concept of twin city. So he has given a concept of tri-city, that and with the time value, within half an hour you can travel from history to present to future. So like Ahmedabad is a historical city, is a UNESCO heritage city. Gandhinagar is a present city which is, built on the greenfield city, as everyone knows is a very few planned city in the country. And the third is GIFT, which is very futuristic and its first operational city. So having said this, again, welcome to all the delegates. So I will just touch upon the planning and development practices and a bit about the city, how this public-private partnership model was there and how it has achieved its success as it was planned. So it was the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister itself way back 1.5 decade before. So that since morning we are listening, infrastructure projects is about financing, and that there was a new very good terminology which we heard in the morning by from Mr. Keshav Verma about the economic geography. So that we all have been studying and learning that cities are economic, cities are engine of growth, cities are the economic hubs. So what could be the new economy? What could be the new way of attracting the investment? What could be the new factors? So that's a very important key takeaway from the GIFT City model when it was thought about, because IFSC, International Financial Services, was not existing since independence in our country. And we have never thought about there is one of a market which could be very attractive and which is very, very lucrative market. If we see about countries Singapore, Mauritius, UK, Japan, there more than 10% GDP percentage. The percentage in their GDP is through the international financial services, which we were missing in our country. So in 2007, when out of one of his visit, Honorable Prime Minister talk about what is the IFSC services. So then their, the supporters and then few top bureaucrats told him about that. We don't have any regulatory regime about the IFSC. There is no regulatory. There is only 2-3 regulatory bodies in the country. RBI for the capital market, SEBI for the stock market, and the third one is IRDA for the insurance market. So we have seen and built up, have been bring up, seeing that there are only 3 financial services: capital market, banking, which we see, and the insurance and the share market. So there is a 4th attribute also, which is international financial services. So which we were missing. Then he thought, okay, let's do it, and we have to do it. And then considering that the studies was done across the IFSC, and it was talked about because it's a deemed foreign territory, and the professionals and the people keep moving from one IFSC to another IFSC. So we need a infrastructure which is of a world class in nature. That was the concept of the GIFT City was evolved. But like in the morning, Keshav Verma sir was saying, think big. He was saying that Cochin can also have its own position all over the world. So it has to think and plan. It's bigger than the urban planning, Then it will trickle down to the planning and the master planning, how you take those concepts into master planning. So having said that, he told about capitalizing the market, not for only Gujarat, for the country, and positioning India as a global IFSCA center. Then the GIFT City vision was brought about, and then it was thought about, considering as they're listening, that the land acquisition has become very difficult. And then, nowadays, if we want to expand our urban centers, urban growth, so the acquisition of land is very difficult. So we are using different methods of land pooling, TP scheme. So considering India being a agro-based economy, it was thought about, let's create a vertical city, considering as a land is a constraint. So these are the major timeline of events since 2007. A JV was formed, GIFT CL. The name is Gujarat International Finance Tech City Company Limited. So the partner was Gujarat government with the ILNFS, major financial sector company. And then, as Madam told, the environmental clearance is a very big issue. So that environmental clearance was taken in 2009. Then 2009-10 airport height clearance was taken. So that, once that development is start, there should not be any challenge. So in 2011, land allotment to GIFT CL, SEZ was notified for the financial services. Land use plan and GDCR notification. As a city, you need a power under the constitution for running as a urban development authority, for as a municipal corporations. So those power was given by the state government to the GIFT CL, and a special urban development authority was created, and a special notified area for municipal corporation was committed. In 2013, first tower was operationalized. 2015, IFSC regulation came. Since if you see, 27 project was conceptualized, and 2015 first guideline by the Indian government was published about IFSCA. So people say the project was very slow because it was having its objective, and it was supposed to be do and get its vision of having an IFSCA. Otherwise, it was very easy. The government could have converted into the real estate project and would have been survived. But it was hold, and it was thought about, if we want to do IFSC only. So because there was no regulatory regime at that central level, so in 2015 first guideline came, in 2019 Act came, IFSCA Act, which came in 2019. So that those act and that regulatory mechanism has given boost up to the project. So the land was carved out of this. This is the GUDA, Gandhinagar Urban Development Authority Development Plan. So this is the circular area which was carved out and was given to for the GIFT Urban Development Authority. So this is the how the area was carved out from a bigger parent development authority area to create a new development authorities. So this is a strategic location. It's if you see in the north side is Gandhinagar, in the south side is Ahmedabad, and the GIFT City is on the river front of western river front of the Sabarmati river in the north direction. Land was barren land. It was non-productive land. Complete revines. It was the river revines, non-productive. So this was the site in 2011. Complete barren and no agro based economy, nothing was there. So this was a major boost, so the authority may think the land which is barren, how we can convert those land into the, in the major projects. Otherwise, to acquire land, it's very difficult task. So it was one of the key boost point where that land was available with the government and government has just given for the project. These are regional settings. It is well connected through the NH 48 state highways and well in the metro plan. It is already in the deep end of the metro. Line is under construction, metro line, and it is well connected through the, as on today, various arterial, subarterial roads of this region. The site constraint was airport authority because the site falls under the air funnel, so we could not go as planned. We were thinking we will go the tower up to 300 to 400 meters. It was thought about. But due to the height constraint, the height restriction is about 120 meter. So with all the towers in the GIFT city is about for the 120 meters. This around 30 story, 33 stories, depending on the residential tower or the commercial towers. The concept and initiation, the concept, as I told, it was a global financial and IT hub, a globally benchmark IFSC. So the planning parameters was taken from after studying the various IFSC across the world. Employment opportunity for 1 billion people. It is expected when this IFSC will be fully functional, around 10 lakhs people will be working directly and indirectly for the GIFT city. A greenfield smart city. The concept of a smart city in the country, it's evolved from this GIFT city only. When it was seen and saw that a smart infrastructure is possible, because it has been piloted at the GIFT city. After that, the mission was rolled over across the country. Vertical city, first of its kind in the country in the scale, scope and quality. One of the major parameter. Sustainable smart city, it's embedded in its master planning only. Generally, when we do master planning, we do only land use planning and we do the land donations. Here it was told about all the parameters related to the sustainability, environmental planning, environmental design and urban design, transport planning, everything was embedded into the master plan of the city. Economic base was well defined and intelligent to and integrate for the resource efficiency. So in the master planning level we have done how to, where will be the sewer lines, where the storm water will be going, how the water, from where we will bring the water, how to minimize the water, how we can stop the water leakages. All this was thought about before putting in the master plan. And these were the basic planning parameters which we miss in normal master plans. This is the present institutional arrangement. Through the Government of Gujarat, GUDCL, GMB and GIDC. GUDC is Gujarat Urban Development Corporation, GMB is Gujarat Maritime Board, and then GIDC is Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation. After the falling of ILNFS, so that the equity share of ILNFS was purchased by GMB and GIDC. So by chance it has become now 100% subsidiary of Gujarat government, though it's a PP model itself, not fully owned by the, now we can say that fully owned by the Gujarat government, but through various 3 companies. So that all 3 companies work as a private corporations because they also want return on their equities and they are independently, they want to mitigate their risk of investment. So it's also innovative methods of bringing one organization which have various government entities, not fully government but 100% owned by the government through various companies. Under that we have GIFT CL, Gujarat GIFT CL company, and then GIFT SCZ. It's as per the SCZ Act, because we want to do IFSC services. In IFSC we have to have a SCZ approval, and it has to be SCZ Act 2005, Special Economic Zone, and so that we have a company for that. So GIFT CL board, we have GIFT SCZ board, completely board driven company, and we have for the development, Urban Development Authority, and as well as NAC. NAC is Notified Area Committee for the municipal functions. And for infrastructure we have, rather than departments of water supply, power, district cooling system, automatic waste collection system, we have cost centers, and it's done by the various companies. So like now we are talking about the public-private partnerships, okay, how we can do through the water supply or sanitation. Here before, inception only, it was thought about that all the services provided by the private companies, not private companies, the companies, so that they can have their own cost centers and can plan their activities. Buildings are done by the developers. We sell the plots to developers, we tender out with the fixed systems, and then with the fixed specification, what kind of buildings you can come, what land use you will use, what height will be there, what will be the connection, how you are going to connect with the city interface, how you are going to connect with the, where your entry is going to be happen, on which road your exit is going to be happen, because the complete transport planning has been done for the area, and then due to considering the traffic count. So those things has been fixed on the plot level wise. Because every tower is around 4 to 5 lakh square feet, which will going to host around 4 to 5,000 person in single tower. So this is the funding revenue mechanism of the company. The term loan for the development of phase 1 infrastructure from the consortium of 5 banks. Revenue is sale of development rights. As I told, we sell the plot. Indirectly we sell the development rights, which is FSI area, to the individual developers who make the buildings and sell those buildings to the individual buyers. City level maintenance charge, we have, we don't have property tax, we have a city level maintenance charges. We have lease rent receiving from the land lease, and the utility charges. Utility charges are separate for all the utilities. We have very unique utilities in the GIFT City, we will see in the next slide. This is a GIFT City boundary around 1000 acre. We have very clearly processing area, non-processing area and dual processing area for the SEZ purpose. So we can say in the center this SEZ activity will happen, because for SEZ you have to have a access control by the custom. These are our notified land use plan, which is a regulatory document which govern the land use in the city. The blue is commercial, green is reserved for the green purpose, yellow is for residential, and red is for institutional, and grey is for utility. So if you see that all the major land use is freeze. So after that we have this is a regulatory document which govern the land use of the particular zone, and further that master planning is in our hand. Then we detail out the master plan. This is the master plan. So every block, blue block and the yellow parcel is showing a tower basically. So it's doing a overall capacity assessment of a land parcel, how much maximum capacity it can take, and designing the building footprint level, block level designing. So total built up area is around 62 million square feet. We can achieve 62 million square feet out of this 1000 acre area, and there is the concept of global FSI, which is 3.65. This is infrastructure master plan. The another layer of the city master plan is infrastructure master plan. Generally we miss. So that all the infrastructure related to water, sanitation, storm water, electricity, and the ICT cabling and the parking, all those water treatment plant, sewage treatment plant. So those are fixed at a city level master plan. The transportation, so city is well connected through all the 3 major corridors. So we have arterial road passing through the city, so that if someone want to go the block, he has to come from arterial road to subarterial road, and subarterial road to the block level road. So proper hierarchy has been adopted in the city planning. The multi-level parking, these fixed spots are there where the MLCPs come. This is the first operational MLCP in the city, 5-story, around for 600 cars. And this is the block level plans. So this is in block level development when these are the building 1, building 2, building 3 when they come. So we only give the building footprints, and that any area after the building footprints belong to a authority, and then all the green part is done by this authority. So what's happened, it's the maximizing the land utilization. Suppose if we give the land, the people generally cover it through the boundary wall. Everyone has a boundary wall, and then open space is not utilized properly. It might be in one building the open space would be of the front side, and then on the neighborhood building can have the back side. So they can have the genset and other dead space in the building towers. So to overcome from that problems, so there is no building boundary walls in the blocks. The only front tower is there, and then it's maximize the open space and for the ventilation purpose, for the greenery purpose, and then for the pedestrian purpose for the public within the block. This is the UDAS Urban Design Architecture Sheets, which talks about the entry, exit, fire driveway movement, connectivity to the building, where that utility tunnel will be connecting to the particular building. And then because you know that storm water, sanitation, all the through gravity and the electricity and ICT cable which is coming through the fiber, how they are going to interface with your building in the basement. So few building may come of 3 basement, few buildings are coming of single basement. So that has to be ensured at the development planning permission stage only. When the buildings come for building permissions, we ensure all these levels are as per the city standards in the building. These are the true picture of our one of the block, 56 block. It shows whatever like urban design sheets we shows, it's being implemented on the ground. So it shows that here we can say between road and the building, street is covered 22 meter we have left. So it's public plaza. It acts as a public plaza as well as it's act as a pedestrian pathway also. So we have removed footpath. There is no footpath if you see. So there is only directly carriageway, and then there is a barricade through the green trees, and then there is a directly 22 meter skate wide escape where the services runs underground. So like here that generally what we keep is storm water and the sanitary sewer line under the footpaths. So those are under the street escape within the after the building line. So these are the few urban green features. If we have a space between towers, we can create such interactive space. So those are spaces has been created as I show you between the 2 towers. There is a green space. Those can be developed like that. You know, some public places for water bodies, public plazas, and then pedestrian pathway at the block levels. So these are the few features which has been implemented at city level. We have seen lot of things happening at a project level. Some private developer is doing township, they can do, but at a city level it is possible if we want to do it. In the previous session we were looking, you know, what is the role of urban designers, and so we have to have professional in the authorities, and it's authority jobs to ensure all these, to consider these aspects also once, whenever we are constructing any road or constructing any sewer line or water line. So it has to be holistically designed and then implemented. So it's doable. These are barrier-free accessibility. We can very clearly see how we can plan the road connectivity with the roads and the block connectivity with the arterial, subarterial roads through the pedestrian network and the 22 meter escape green plaza. These are our GIFT Urban Development Authority. It's under GTPUD Act. So we have regulatory power of master planning and giving the building permission. This was plan of 2011. Regulatory framework, which is very important. In morning also you are talking about lack of regulatory parts. So what we have done in our GDCR itself, we have put 3-4 new things like all building has to have green buildings. If the buildings are not green, they cannot get occupancy certificate. The building should have IBMS guidelines. IBMS is Integrated Building Management System. So all the buildings are connected with our state city level control command center. So I can see what is the water consumption, what is the energy consumption in a building. If there is a fire issue, so I get directly fire alarm at my command center, and then I can mobilize fire rescue team immediately. So those are the important part which is the part of GDCR. So when the building comes for the occupancy certificate, I see whether the building is smart or not. So those guidelines is given way advanced as a design brief to the architect when architect comes to design a building, and then he is well versed with the guidelines, and then he implement all these aspects. So the regulatory frameworks play a very important role in the city. We have the interior guidelines also, that is regulatory document. If after being a tower of 30 stories, so those towers is been occupied by various group companies, you know. Few companies take 10 towers, few companies take 2 floors, few companies take 1 floor. So we ensure interior guidelines also. That is not figuring out with the city building level infrastructure. So otherwise what's happened, you know, they will cut directly electric connection, they will stop the fire pathways. Because when the building is designed on the basis of few assumptions. But those assumptions are till the occupancy certificate received. Once it goes in the hand of occupiers, so they are honor, and then they do whatever they want to do. So in the maximum cases where it has been seen in the vertical building, wherever that fire incident happened, so it was happened, the building was designed properly, but it was not maintained, and all the fire escape doors, roof, space, areas were closed or were occupied for any other work. So we ensure interior guidelines also when we give interior permission, कि those assumptions of the building design parameters are in place in the building or not. This is a building permission committee we have created. This is a building permission process. We have 3-stage building permission: development permission, then commencement certificate, then occupancy certificate. And under the commencement certificate, generally all other authorities just give to start commencement and they just see the civil work. But here we see structural engineering also, and as well as MEPF also. MEPF is mechanical, electrical and firefighting, and plumbing also. So we get design of those 4 and we approve those drawings also. For approval also we have a process of third party check also. So we have a proof check consultant in place. So whenever developer consultant or design consultant bring the drawings to us, so it's not only architectural drawing ke basis pe we gives the development permission. After that we ask for the CC. In the commencement certificate he submits first structural drawings which is vetted by the third party. Then he submitted the MEPF drawings, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and then they are vetted by the third party. So those are the few parameters which we have, though it might look the process is a bit lengthy, but it's foolproof process we accept. This is like, the developers are finding it very easy. Generally they say they take development permission and they start building, and then later they think okay, we have to do MEPF design also or structural design also. When they do structural design, they say grid is not getting set, or MEPF they don't have proper space, so they cut down and then they compromise with the quality of services, so which hampers in the long run. So those impact now the developers, whoever developers are, so they're saying okay, if the development plan is freeze at your end, it means that building is good to go. They build within 2 years or 3 years all full 30-story towers, and without any hitch. There is no look back after that once the building is started. So we can say like it's more of planning. 90% times we spend in the planning and designing, and then 10% is in execution phases, and it's going on very well. And we have accreditation professional concept also. What we do, we accredit professionals. All the architects who are having the experience, we have an accreditation form with the GIFT City. So there is a criteria is given. So all the consultant, architecture, structural engineers, mechanical consultants, electrical consultants, plumbing, fire consultants, so they have to get accredited with us. They can only design the buildings in the GIFT City, and they can only proof check the. So whenever we do the tender for selection of a architect proof check consultant, so we invite the bids from the accredited consultant only. So it's a competition among the professional bodies also. These online design approval systems which we implemented in the GIFT City, these are the implementation guidelines. So we have ready reckoner for the water supply, wastewater supply, sewage connection, district cooling systems, solid waste connection, because district cooling system and sewage waste collection are very unique services which I will show in the next slides. So those are first time happening in the country. So our consultants are also not aware how to do the interface from the building to with the city. So we have all the ready reckoners available on our website. So it's easy for the designer to design a building for us. These are the few typical cross sections, how this water supply. Generally what we see in other cities, that any developer or any builders do building very nicely. No one wants my building should look shabby or dirty and access shouldn't be access. It's about interface. The moment you come out from a building to the road, you forget everything, because there is no coordination among the government which is taking care of external interface and the building. So all buildings, everything is very nicely done, but interface is very, very, very bad. And interface also at the government side, there are the multiple agencies involved. Water supply, sanitation, electric board, telecom company, and the road company, R&B. So 6-7 companies, and then so that the building and their interface, we won't find it is smooth. In very, very limited cases, we can say that there is a very smooth interface. Otherwise, it's challenge everywhere. So to avoid those interface challenges, we have that schematic diagrams scaled to each and every buildings where your connection is going to come. Same is sewage systems, because we understand sewage system is through the gravity, so it has to be taken on the -1 basement. It is connected. Water supplies will be connected in the -2 and -3 because it's going to be pumped. It is DCS, district cooling system, is going to be connected as -2 basement because it is coming through the tunnel, and the tunnel is at -6 meter down below the grade line. This AWCS, this is also coming from tunnel. It has to be interfaced at a -2 basement level. Power supply. These are our first sustainable design planning operation, first IGBC platinum rated city in the country. These are the few buildings which is the gold. These are the two pictures of the city. This is the International Club, hotel, and this Iranian Towers. So we are trying to achieve climate resiliency, universal design, and the low emitting materials. So which has helped us in achieving the gold rated buildings. These are the 30 stories tower. One is gold, and this by Brigade Group is silver rated green building. Our data center is cool. Economic housing is also gold rated certified. Energy efficient buildings, we have roof solar plant. We have first ECBC compliant building in the Gujarat, energy conservation building code, which is in very nascent stage by the central government. So we have done through the Pacific Northwest US Department of Energy as a pilot project. So we are open up for the institutional engagement and for the research for this type of activities also. Low carbon mobilities, we have already fixed up the way back electric power charging stations, green bikes in the city. Anyone can take from one place to another place, electric vehicle charging stations. These are the functional in the city. Stormwater drainage, we have used these unique techniques of making it through the gabion structure, so that in Ahmedabad we have a very low rainfall and it's spread over the duration of the time. So we utilize that, and then the water gets seepage through the gabion structures. We don't need to do rainwater harvesting separately. Biodiversity management at the block level, we have the landscape plan at a 3 levels, at a master plan level, city level, and then at a block level and at a building levels. So the 3 category we can very clearly see in the maps how we are implementing the landscape in the city. We have a Balvatika, a unique concept of for the construction worker facilities. So we don't see workers at a construction sites, because when the labor comes in very informal sectors, so kids generally play at a construction sites. So we have considering it as a social land use and important land use. Generally it is not there in any city. We have temples, we have churches, we have hospitals, public places, but we are missing that type of structures, So those we have reserved in a city as a social land use for the construction worker children. So when the workers goes to the construction sites, they drop their kids at these facilities, and then they take back in the evening. So all these food, educations and everything is done at a city level by us. These are urban forests through the Miyawaki methods. These are also latest techniques where we can have a green belt whenever we want to have a green belt. So here that's Miyawaki Japanese techniques where that we grow fast trees, because Ahmedabad is a very dry and hot. There is no rains. It's not like Kerala. So we miss greenery over there. So those innovative methods of green cover is used. These are the two pictures of green forest and green belts as a block level partition line. These are the few public bush and the trees in gift cities and these birds in gift city. And these are the city services, how we are ensuring the efficient smart city through smart infrastructure. This is the utility tunnel, first of its kind in the country, where all the utilities are underground through a tunnel, and it's 6 by 8 meter duct, and on the left and right corners are the dry duct where ICT and another duct there is a electric cables runs. So you don't need to dig city anytime in the future. Once you have done it. And this utility tunnel is connected through the various buildings through the basements. We have our own power stations, power discom services, water treatment plant, cities zero waste, that any tap water, drinking water, all that any tap water is very good, drinkable, meeting WHO standards. Sewage treatment plant for JLD, zero liquid discharge, water discharge. We use this wastewater after treatment in the landscape and as well as our district cooling systems. District cooling system, I'll tell you. This is automatic waste collection system plant. So that's my garbage room, if you see on the top. The waste comes through the utility tunnel, which I show you, and it sucks through the vacuum, and then it comes to the plant. It gets segregated at a plant in various organic, inorganic, plastic papers, and then organic waste goes to the for composting, and organic waste, plastic papers goes to for the recyclers. So this no smell, nothing, and this ultimately functioning waste management plant without human intervention. There is no human intervention. It's only plant has to be run. These are district cooling systems that city gives you, like a water supply or sanitary services, you gives you district cooling pipeline also. So in a tower, when you make a centrally air conditioning systems like here, so we have two plants. One is AHU, air handling units, and other we have a cooling things. So cooling thing is common at the city level. Chilled water comes to a building, and then they have to just have a AHU, air handling unit. So it reduces cost to individual developers. So it's like trade-off cost. Somewhere he is paying more, somewhere he is reducing the cost, and ultimately saving the operational cost, because this district cooling system is 30% less energy efficient than the conventional systems. So operation cost of a commercial towers comes very low. This city control command center, where all the city activities, utilities are monitored, and all the water leakage detection systems, power voltage supply drop, or security, any fire control, and any fire alarm comes to the city control command centers, from where we can mobilize the escape team. So this is the now just to have a glimpse of the city. Around 5 million is operational building, 4 million is under construction, and 10 million is upcoming structure. This is the skyline which we want to achieve, and these are real buildings. These are a few towers, ready to 100%. It's International Stock Exchange which is operating in this tower, which is in the IFSC, all the transactions happen in dollars. So it's like basically a deemed foreign territory. These Savvy towers, here the Bank of America has been taken 4 lakh square feet. This gift tower, Prestige FinTech, where that IBM has recently opened up a tech lab, like Cochin we had in the morning. Cochin also they have opened here also. These BSC broker towers, here all the brokers, share brokers have come up, and then they have taken complete tower, and they have started operations of tradings, share tradings. These are WTC, World Trade Center. These are data centers, like in terms of when we talk about the smart cities. So we need data center as a service from the city authorities, because you know that everything is data nowadays. So the data center is also there. So all the occupants who comes in the city, they have ready services of data centers. So they don't need to look here and there. This is the LIC building which is coming out. Under construction, you see the under construction building and the construction methodology, neat and clean, site properly done, daily cleaning. So because the next building is operationalized. So here when we do the construction and operations together, so you know many of you have seen the internationally Dubai and Singapore, how they try to manage. So we are trying to achieve those standards at least. How we can do it, like SBI buildings, it's going on, going to finish. This upcoming building, Nakshat building. So you see all the high-rise towers and properly planned with this green escape and this thing. We have fire station, school is operational, around 1800 kids comes to the school. Hotel, 5-star hotel, international club. These are our residential, first of its kind residential development. It's economic weaker section, 1 room, 1 BHK housing, which we have given for the supportive staff. These are residential towers by Sober developers, another by Sober Sanghar developers. These are the other residential tower coming up under construction by Kaviratna Group. This is by Shobha. SBI is also coming out with the residential tower, because we have a concept of walk to work. So anyone who is making commercial tower, they are making their residential tower also. These are the institutional engagement. We have institutional tie-up MOUs with EPFL, IGLUs, GIDM, and recently we are doing a urban resilience project with the Estonian University. And these are the international recognition. Gift City Steel the Show wins 4 international awards in Singapore. And this is sustainable smart city from vision to reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a very informative presentation, and a lot of information has come up in a very short span of time. Now I request the chair of the session and both the speakers to kindly occupy the dais for a short question answer or a discussion session. So ma'am, if you can please occupy the stage. Before we start the formal discussion session, a couple of announcements to make. We had 2 parallel sessions running in the other hall, that parallel technical session. So all those who are disappointed that you might have missed the sessions running in the other hall, we have the recorded sessions streaming in the GCD website and the GCD YouTube channel. So the same can be accessed at any time and downloaded, shared, and shared with your colleagues also for dissemination of much more information. So that will be available. And tomorrow the technical sessions would be commencing at 9 o'clock. So these are 2 small announcements to make, and we'll straight away move on to the discussion phase.
So we had very interesting, enlightening presentations by Mr. Loveleen Garg and Geeta. So now the floor is open for discussions. You can come up with your questions, and it needn't be question actually. You can also comment on it, but please make it very brief.
I have one question each to both Geeta and Loveleen. Should I ask them together or separately? Well, Geeta, to you, the question is, what kind of disaster resilient measures are you taking in this new airport? Because it's coming very close to the water, and it is also coming in a former wetland. So it's a very susceptible land. So what kind of disaster measures are you taking for the airport? That is the question to you. Now to Loveleen, the question is that you said that this is totally independent of the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. So that means they have their own, what kind of electoral ward will they belong to? And that is my question, because I could not understand how the idea of citizenship in a municipality is interfacing with these 2 cities together.
Sir, to answer that question, this airport is, if you see the creek, the system of creek in Navi, which is, this airport is very near to the creek which divides the island city and the Navi Mumbai city. But if you see, it's not the main sea. It's not the open sea, so the waters are very calm there, if you see. So there is no, what you call, threat from water,
What about sea level rise?
Level rise?
Sea level rise, it is said that by 2050, Mumbai may have some level of water inside it.
Yeah.
In main island city itself.
Yeah, but now
I know this site is on a slight elevation towards the hills, but at the estuary itself, where your
airport is coming,
coming up, the level is very similar to the level of the sea.
Yeah,
in
so
Mumbai?
sir, that actually takes us back to the question of how Navi Mumbai was developed itself. So Navi Mumbai had a very unique situation wherein, like maybe similar to Cochin in some way, or many of our areas were below sea level. So the entire Navi Mumbai design was based on the Dutch reclamation method. So wherein we have created bunds all along the waterfront.
I'm familiar with the
Yeah,
geography.
and then we have kept the levels. That's how we could keep the levels of the city much below the Otherwise, maybe we had to develop it at a very higher level. But in case of Navi Mumbai Airport, what we have done is we have raised the level to around 9 meter. Ultimate runway level, if the surrounding area level is around 5 to 6 meter, the NH National Highway is at around 6 meter, but the airport runway will be at 9.5 meter above mean sea level. So the airport itself is raised, the platform is completely raised. So, and the master drainage plan has been prepared with considering the surrounding drainage pattern. So that was a major study was done by CWPRS. So they have given very specific levels and how the stormwater drain should be. So the airport drainage, and then how it drains out into the creek, and from there how it goes, it's all master plan. It was simulated in their physical and mathematical modeling was done, and the entire study was done, and that is how the drains are designed. So for it's designed for 100-year return.